getting ready to file those taxes. Maybe you're not even close to being ready. Well, hold on, because there are a few deduction ideas that you may not have thought of.
This is correct. Joining us on the KOGO News Live line is Director of Tax Services for Online Trading Academy, Michael Atias. And Michael, you were saying that we can save thousands with 6 overlooked tax deductions. All right, tell us what they are.
Okay, well, let's start with the first one, sales tax. A lot of people are not aware of that you can write off your sales tax in exchange for writing up your income tax. So there are situations where people don't pay a lot of income tax, or they live in a state that doesn't charge income tax. Well, you can claim sales tax. Maybe you purchased a car that year. That could be a substantial transaction. Next in line is we're talking about job search expenses. A lot of people in this day and age switch job, every other year or every couple of years. And even if you don't land a new job, you're eligible to claim expenses such as paying a headhunter, getting your resumes done professionally, online services like LinkedIn, travel to interviews, lodging, etc. So those expenses can amount into thousands of dollars. Also, your tax prep fees, whatever you pay your accountant to do your return, or if you have somebody planning a tax plan for you, that is also deductible. Sometimes if you work with an attorney to build your estate plan, that's basically a tax planning deal there, so you can also write that off. If you have another deduction that people forget about is if you have a money manager, if you got your money with a brokerage firm and they charge you a management fee, you can write those expenses off as part of your investment expenses, assuming you itemize your deductions. And, there's other things that we can go down the list. I think we've mentioned maybe 4 of the top 6.
All right, so it sounds like, because both of us were kind of looking surprised at each other a couple of times while you were talking, that you would be able to do this. Now, what about student loans? We have talked so much about student loans and how that crushing debt is really hurting some students. What about that is deductible?
Well, student loan is usually deductible up to $2,500, and there's also an income limitation there. If you make above a certain amount of money, you can't write off. But here's a nice little piece of information that people may not know. Sometimes we see, kids come out of college and they may not find a job right away, or they find a job that doesn't pay them enough and they can't really afford to pay the interest. Well, their parents come in and pay it. Now the question is, so who gets to write it off? Well, the parents can't write it off even though they're paying it, because they're not liable for the debt. But it turns out the kids can, even if they didn't pay the student loan interest. So, like I said, it's up to $2,500 per person.
I think what was interesting, LaDonna and I were talking, when you said sales tax?
Yes.
Yeah. Talk more about that.
Yeah, and can you write it off federally or stately?
Yeah.
Federal. It's a federal deduction. So basically, when you itemize your deductions, you'll notice that if you ever look at Schedule A, that there's a place for income tax and also sales tax. A lot of people ignore that because they're just accustomed to claiming their state income tax. Well, but you can choose the other one. And there are years where it doesn't make sense to claim your sales tax or your income tax.
Okay, you know what? It sounds like there's a whole list of things that we need to be talking to our tax professional about trying to get those taxes filed with the least amount of hassle and the most coming back as we possibly can.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's all about finding the right professional and having the right knowledge, so at least when you're in front of that professional, you can ask the right questions.
All right. Thanks so much. Tax Services for Online Trading Academy, Michael Atias, talking about those overlooked tax deductions. Keep those in mind.
Interesting. KOGO News Time.